Warning: the following video might contain some elements that might not be suitable for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. About 5 years ago, I lived downtown in a major city in the US. I've always been a night person, so I would often find myself bored after my roommate, who was sadly a night person, went to sleep. To pass the time, I used to go for long walks and spend the time thinking. I spent 4 years like that, walking alone at night, and never once had a reason to feel afraid. Always used to joke with my roommate that even the drug dealers in the city were polite, but all of that changed in just a few minutes of one evening. It was a Wednesday, somewhere between 1 and 2 in the morning, and I was walking near a police-patrolled park quite a ways from my apartment. It was a quiet night, even for a weeknight. Very little traffic and almost no one on foot. The park, as it was most nights, was completely empty. I turned down a short side street in order to loop back to my apartment when I first noticed him. At the far end of the street, on my side, was the silhouette of a man dancing. It was a strange dance, similar to waltz, but he finished each box with an odd forward stride. I guess you could say he was dance walking, headed straight for me. Said he was probably drunk. I stepped as close as I could to the road to give him the majority of the sidewalk to pass me by. The closer he got, the more I realized how gracefully he was moving. He was very tall and lanky, and wearing an old suit. He danced closer still, until I could make out his face. His eyes were open wide and wild, head tilted back slightly, looking off at the sky. His mouth was formed in a painfully white cartoon of a smile. Between the eyes and the smile, I started to cross the street before he danced any closer. I took my eyes off of him to cross the empty street. As I reached the other side, I glanced back, and then stopped dead in my tracks. He had stopped dancing and was standing with one foot in the street, perfectly parallel to me. He was facing me, but still looking skyward, smile still wide on his lips. I was completely and utterly unnerved by this. I started walking again, but kept my eyes on the man. He didn't move. With half a block between us, I turned away from him for a moment to watch the sidewalk in front of me. The street and sidewalk ahead of me were completely empty. Still unnerved, I looked back to where he had been standing to find him gone. For the briefest of moments, I felt relieved, until I noticed him. He had crossed the street, and I was now slightly crouched down. I couldn't tell for sure due to the guesses in the shadows, but I was certain he was facing me. I had looked away from him for no more than 10 seconds, so it was clear that he had moved fast. I was shocked that I stood there. I stood there for some time, staring at him, and then he started moving toward me again. He took giant, exaggerated, tiptoed steps, as if he were a cartoon character sneaking up on someone, except he was moving very, very quickly. I like to say at this point, I ran away or pulled out my pepper spray or my cell phone or anything at all, but I didn't. I just stood there, completely frozen as the silent man crouched toward me, and then he stopped again, about a car length away from me, still smiling his smile, still looking to the sky. When I finally found my voice, I blurted out the first thing that came to my mind. What I meant to ask was, "What do you want?" in an angry, commanding tone. What came out was a whimper, "What?" Regardless of whether or not humans can smell fear, they can certainly hear it. I heard it in my own voice, and that only made me more afraid, but he didn't react to it at all. He just stood there, smiling, and then after what felt like forever, he turned around very slowly and started walking away, just like that. Not wanting to turn my back to him again, I just watched him go until he was far enough away to almost be out of sight. And then I realized something. He wasn't moving away anymore, nor was he dancing. Watching horror as the distant shape of him grew larger and larger. He was coming back my way, and this time he was running. I ran too. I ran until I was off of the side of and back onto a better lit road with sparse traffic. Looking behind me then, there was nowhere to be found. The rest of the way home, I kept glancing over my shoulder, always expecting to see his stupid smile, but he was never there. I lived in that city for 6 months after that night. and I never went out for another walk. There was something about this face that always haunted me. He didn't look drunk. He didn't look high. He looked completely and utterly insane. And that's a very, very scary thing to see. So that was The Smiling Man, a creepypasta, and before anyone asks on why is my hair different, I just feel like this could be my like new hairstyle, since I think some people might be get tired on my old hairstyle, which is the 2014 cult hairstyle. So yeah, so this is gonna be my new hairstyle for now. Okay. So anywho, this creepypasta, it's just a a pretty good but pretty creepy one. Especially you know the smiling man, who just like kind of following the protagonist of the story, which, it's always, and I'm just glad that I didn't kind of like someone that similar to the smiling man while just trying to throwing out something at night. So yeah, and also, the also you know the way like the protagonist side describes the smiling man, is kind of, yeah, it's just kind of accurate to how like there's like people who are just like acting as crazy as the smiling man. So yeah, don't have anything else to say, but this is a pretty good and rather creepy creepypasta, and also a short one. So yeah. So anywho, like and comment this video and subscribe for more content. So this is Mr. Freddy here, and I hope you have a very good night. So bye bye.